My next patron question is from Benjamin, who wanted to know what happened to Don Bluth's Dragon Slayer movie. A few times a movie based on that beloved video game has been announced but has yet to reach screens, despite Bluth's best efforts. The earliest attempt even dates back to the early 80s, shortly after the arcade game was released and became a hit. Bluth collaborated with Alan Dean Foster on the script, and a short reel of animation, concept art, and storyboards was produced to show to interested investors. He even suggested Michael J. Fox as a possible voice for the lead hero, Dirk. However, Bluth had trouble getting a studio or producers on board, and then the video game crash of 1983 happened, and that ultimately put an end to those plans. But there is an alternate universe where Dragon Slayer becomes the first movie based on a video game. After Don Bluth's success with An American Tail and Land Before Time, and multiple versions of Dragon's Lair were released on home consoles, there were reportedly talks again about making a movie based on the game. Maybe if Titan AE had been successful, Don Bluth might have made a movie for 20th Century Fox Animation. In 2015, Bluth announced he and Gary Goldman had started a Kickstarter campaign to raise funds for a Dragon's Lair movie with plans to create a hand-drawn animation test to show to investors. That campaign did not reach its goal, but one on Indiegogo did, and even continued to bring in donations after that. They did produce the short animation they promised and reportedly pitched it around to different studios to gain interest in making the full feature. But as you can see, that movie has not happened yet, and the reason for that appears to be because of an announced live-action movie for Netflix. In March 2020, it was revealed that Bluth and Goldman had spent a year talking with Netflix about a movie, and a live-action film started development with both of them serving as producers. Ryan Reynolds would produce and star in the movie, while Kevin and Dan Hageman, who have written credits on a bunch of animated projects, along with the film adaptation of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, were hired to write the film. Of course, around the time this movie was announced, the pandemic was going on, which I'm sure must have affected things, especially Reynolds' schedule. It should be noted that no director was announced, and it's been largely quiet since then. The most recent update I can find is Reynolds being asked about it in an interview in November 2022. This was what he said. "I can say that Netflix has approached Dragon's Lair in a spirit of partnership that I've never really seen before. They're taking such a swing with it. How we're approaching it and attacking it and what we're doing with it, I think will be pretty surprising to a lot of people. In its scope, I mean. And I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone's ever tried it before quite like this, so I'm curious to see how it'll go. It really intersects in a unique way with technology that I've never been privy to in the entertainment industry. So they're taking some pretty innovative stabs at this particular IP in a way that I'm blown away with, and I'm excited that they're as along for the ride as we are." He gave that answer while promoting his most recent movie, Spirited, but he has 2 films opening this summer, so maybe on the IF and Deadpool and Wolverine press tours he'll be asked about it again, and we'll get another update. It's possible that Netflix has since decided to abandon the film like they did with a He-Man movie that was being developed there for a while. Or maybe it's like Netflix's Narnia movies, which were announced several years ago, we heard no news for ages, and then finally it was recently revealed that Greta Gerwig would be directing them. I guess the next question in regards to the Dragon's Lair movies, who the director might be. Ryan Reynolds has recently worked with Sean Levy on 3 movies, so he seems like the most likely candidate, as they appear to have a good working relationship, and Levy has proven himself on multiple occasions to know how to direct movies with extensive visual effects. It also would not surprise me if they got John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, based on what they pulled off in Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. The chances of a sequel happening appear to be slim, so maybe they'll jump on board a different fantasy movie based on another beloved piece of gaming culture. However, this is all complete speculation on my part. It's common for movies to go through several years in development as the filmmakers and studio attached try to figure out the best route to take and how much money to spend on a given project. Dragon's Lair is a somewhat well-known name, especially among enthusiasts of 80s games, so even if this movie at Netflix does not come to fruition, I'm sure there will be other producers who will attempt to make one in the future. Thank you for your question, Benjamin.